Going. So once again, hello and welcome to this SDC Verifier webinar. My name is Oleg Ishchuk. I am Chief Operating Officer at SDC Verifier, and today I'm joined by my colleagues Petro Nek, who is in charge of our marketing activities, and Bogdan Solenko, who is helping us with the business development. They will help me to guide you through SDC Verifier reporting. During these webinars, they will be able to reply to your questions immediately or at least record them. And in the end, we are going to answer them. So let me start with how we are going to work today. As scheduled, we will have 40 minutes presentation. And during this presentation, you can type in your messages into the Q&A box. And we will have 10 minutes in the end of this webinar to answer your questions. So I will immediately go to the presentation part, not to waste any of your time. Once again, if you have any questions, just type them into the chat box, and in the end, we are going to discuss it. So today's webinar is about the advanced automatic reporting with SDC Verifier in Ansys Mechanical, but everything what's going to be shown today is also applicable to FEMAP and SimCenter 3D. So complete functionality of SDC Verifier is available to all the three programs. We are not going to discuss the introduction to the software's capability. I see most of the attendees today are already advanced SDC Verifier user, or at least are familiar with the program. But if you have any questions regarding the general workflow or what is SDC Verifier, please visit our website, our YouTube channel. There's plenty of recordings of previous webinars where we highlighted the general idea of the software. Today, we're completely focused on reporting. So let's start with the presentation of the project. I have a small demonstrational project with Ansys where we have a model which is looking like a jacket structure. So it's mostly built with beam elements or completely built with beam elements, but everything shown today is possible. So it works with any type of Ansys Mechanical, once again, Siemens or SimCenter 3D or FEMAP model, and it works with beam plates and solids. Doesn't matter what type of FEA elements or what type of results you would like to present to your customer. So we have this model, and we have SDC Verifier project, which is already slightly prepared. I already did recognition of the structural members, beam members within the structure. I have prepared a job which consists of 5 different loads, where we have 3 winds, some force distributed on top of the structure, and gravity. These loads are combined on load sets into load sets. So we have a list of load sets like this. We have 3 cases with wind, and we have 3 cases with storm when the wind pressure is multiplied with the factor. And then we have 2 groups. Well, we actually have 3 groups: wind, storm, and overall all results together to present the results of the checks. We also prepared 2 standards, AIC 36010 member checks and Eurocode 3 member checks. So today we're going to prepare a report presenting the results of the analysis of this type of structure within different loading combinations, load sets, and load groups, and evaluation evaluation according to AISC and Eurocode standards. I also have prepared a report which is predefined, which we can walk through and see the complete generated report, but I want to make a new report with you together from scratch. So as you see, for this reporting capabilities, you already need to have a certain knowledge of SDC Verifier, how the loads are combined, how to prepare a check, and so on. We'll get back to these questions in our future webinars, and also we have plenty of information available online about these features. So to add a report, within SDC Verifier, we have to go to the very bottom of the tree. And here we have reports item, where by clicking add, you can select the type of report you would like to create. There is four wizard options, which allows you to create a report completely automatically by just selecting some checkboxes. This is a very quick method, but this allows you to create a standard report. And then there is a designer tool, which allows you to create a report which allows you to create a report with full control over the structure, with adjusting, previewing, modifying, and basically with unlimited capabilities. And it's also possible to create not only a document report, but also presentation. This is something slightly different. It turns into Microsoft PowerPoint slides in the end. So if you need to put some presentation into the slides, it's possible to do with the presentation tool. We'll start with, we will focus today on Report Designer. And within Report Designer, we'll start from completely empty model, completely empty setup. So we are able to navigate, to go through all the features available. I'm clicking on the designer, and Report Designer tool is opening. Let's speak a bit about the interface of this. So on the left, you will have a tree. You're having a tree which presents the structure of your report. Every added item is going to be shown in this tree. So everything we will add to the content of our document will appear here. On top, we have a ribbon with a couple of tabs, which allows you to have a control over your document, to insert certain plots and table, to include some results, post-processing tool, and import other pieces of document or documents into the report. Here on the center, everything we are generating is going to appear. And on the right, we have a status bar at the bottom and the options for the selected items on top. So some standard things like saving the project and saving the report template here. And then important button generate. By default, nothing is generated and included in your report. So everything you add, you would have to generate to be able to visualize it in this central part of your screen. So for example, we have a first page, and if I press generate, it automatically generates the items we have here. This button generates the complete document, but you can generate the items one by one by just executing a right click on them. So it's important to understand that these items are generated before, so the complete report is generated before it's exported to Word document or PDF file. Here we have some export settings. Some report settings, which allows you to define a certain notifications, select default view on your model, and important checkbox here is to save items for the report, save generated items for the report. So if it's checked, everything you generated, either like this or by clicking the generate button, will be stored. And if you close the report and open again, it's still stored in the memory of SDC Verifier. Then we have settings for settings we already discussed, and a couple of more things to set up is unit system. If you haven't done that before in your project, you can still adjust the unit system here. You can adjust the legend settings, so how the results are going to be presented for certain categories of results. They're going to be presented in a certain mode with the minimum or maximum values, or just in automatic mode from minimum to maximum in 12 different levels. We have also settings for number format, so to visualize properly the displacements in millimeters, stresses and strains in megapascals, forces in kilonewtons. We have defined the standard settings. It is stored typically standard for every SDC Verifier project, but if you want to adjust something, if you have extremely big or extremely small values, you're able to adjust the settings here. And Then the next button, which is report structure, is allowing you to control how the items, how the result items you're adding to the structure are sorted within the document. So by default, all the results are grouped overloads. So I can create, I'm now going to show you how to create hundreds of plots or tables. And in the model tree, these plots and tables are going to be sorted by loads, but it's also possible to sort them over selections or with a custom sorting. So I stick to the idea of sorting over loads, so I keep it here. You can also include or exclude some containers and have a couple of other options here. Then the option to expand or collapse all the model tree, which is pretty small now, but I'll show that later on. And final settings to our profile is first is report layout. In this layout, you can adjust how the first page of your report is going to look like. So every company is having some standard template for the design of the report. This is ours, but obviously you would like to set it up for in the way that you are used to in your company. You can do it in here. And also for the attendees of this webinar, we have a very special offer. With the help of SDC Verifier developers and engineers, we are happy to help you to set up the template in a way that you are used to in your company. So there is a certain amount of settings and programming to be done for first page, headers, footers, including pictures and so on. If you would like us to automatically to set up for you this template, and it will be automatically used for all your further reports, for all the attendees of this webinar, we are happy to provide this services for free, and yeah, quickly just send me an email afterwards, and we're happy to help you with this. So here you can adjust not only the how the pages are going to look like, but also the settings of the fonts and set colors of the borders in your table, types of fonts, locations of the fonts, and so on. Okay. So after this, we have a couple more. Sorry, I need to hide this button. Yeah. We have a couple of more settings. We have views. Yeah. Page display. Page display is showing us how we would like to look on our report. Is it one page per the screen or 2 pages, or we want to have it in a scroll and just zoom in, zoom out, and scroll through the document. So we'll stick to 1 page document. And first we have so we have 2 more options. It's views and components. It's very important to understand that SDC Verifier is allowing you to have not only full control of the document, but also present the model and the results in the way that you would like to. So first thing here is views. Views are the way you are looking at your model on the plots, on the pictures of the results. And it's possible to create an unlimited amount of views. We have a default one. So for example, default is a global view on the full model, which shows our complete jacket structure. Here you have a list of all the standard settings for visualization, like putting the fillet edges or not, putting thickness on or off, setting the control over limit for the legend, and many more. So with views, you are defining the way you're going to look at your model. We have another one, which is the bottom part, and you can easily adjust it. For example, here you can just select, so we are looking at the bottom part of our model, right? We can press show. And with pressing show, we go to, it shows this part of the model in Ansys Mechanical. We can rotate or define the model in the way that we would like to have in our pictures. Well, I'll keep the same, but I'll just move it a bit to the side and change the angle a little bit. And here we just press get. After we're pressing get, you see the picture has changed. So once again, if I would like to look and edit completely from the bottom, I'm pressing get. And SDC Verifier reads the way we are looking on this model. So I'll stick to the view like this. And after that, I am pressing get. I'm keeping this view on the model. So views are allowing you to take a look on your model from different angles, different magnitude, zooming in or out. And the components are allowing you to present a part of the model. So component is SDC Verifier selection, which allows you to pick a part of the model to be presented. You're not necessarily obliged to present the results on complete model. You can select a portion of model for presenting the result. And for example, here what you can, we have a list of certain components, but we can click edit on any of this, and rule-based selector is appearing. Rule-based selector allows us to define the portion of model in any way we would like to. So for example, we can just press on all and include all the entities. We can select components or properties from the list, or recognition items. So we recognize all the beam members in our model, and we can select beam members from this list and only present the results on these members. The same works with welds, plate fields, and so on. We can also manually select the items from Ansys Mechanical. So we are clicking this button, selecting elements, and then we go to the interface of Ansys, select the items we would like to have, and yeah, keep it for the component. Any selection can be stored as a component, and this rule-based selector, once again, it's allowing you to present only the portion of the model that you would like to use for the reporting. Okay, that's enough for the settings we have on the Home tab, and let's start to fill in our report with useful information. So at the very first steps, we would like to include the information about the model itself. What we are going to add here, we are going to go to the model setup and select from the model information, we add the full chapter. So everything what's possible to include about how our model is built. I added this full chapter. It appeared in the middle of the report since I had an active item, but you can drag anything within the model tree. So you just pick it up and drag it with your mouse. In the model description, in the model setup, you have a list of certain things that are available to be presented. Let's take a look on a couple of them. Let's start with, well, let's not waste much time and let's go only over one of them. Let's see properties. It's the most interesting one, as I think. So what we would like to do, we would like to preview how it's going to look like in our report. I'm selecting generate, and it starts to generate the parts I selected for visualization. As I said, only generated parts are later on exported when we are converting to the Word document or PDF. So before converting your document into the Word format, for example, you just need to press a generate button, and well, I think this report already is having 37 different items, and you've seen it took 15 seconds to generate it. And typically, 100 pages report is generated within, let's say, a minute or something like that. Of course, it's depending on how powerful your computer is and how complicated is your model, but typically 100 pages is about a minute to generate. So I generated the properties item to take a look on our model. So I start from the very beginning. We start with the, maybe I'll also zoom in because for some of you it may be too small. So at the beginning, we have a properties table, property summary, where all the properties of our Ansys Mechanical model, which is over here. If we'll go to the tree, we'll look on geometry cross sections. We have a list of cross sections. We call them properties. And all of these properties are listed here. You can see how many elements of every property we have, what is the material for every of them, and what is the mass of all of this, each of these properties, and then the total one. At the bottom, we have a properties label plot. which highlights with different color the different property. So we can take a look which one is worse. So property 12 is red here at the bottom. Dark green eye shape is here on top. So it allows you to present how your model is built. Then we have a plate thickness plot, but actually in this model we have no plates. So we can just find this plate thickness label plot in the tree and right click on it, remove it. I'll switch now to the page display to see what else we are having. And then we are having the list of the properties in our model one by one. We have the, so the property, the dimensions, how it looks, and where it is located within our model. Actually, this is highlighting. I'll show you on the completely generated report how that looks like. So complete list of how your model is built. And in the very same way, we can have a list of materials. We only have one material, structural steel here. We can have a list of components if we want to. We can have a list of description of every load that we have. As I said, the wind forces, the gravity, and the distributed load on top, and the boundary conditions. So this allows you to completely preview how your model is built, to present to your customer how the model is built, what are the materials used, properties used, loads, and boundary conditions. Next item we would like to add is the results themselves. So we want to present to the client how what are the stresses, displacements, and what are actually the check results for our model. So let's start with pictures. What we would like to add is we can add criteria or contour plot, doesn't matter. We select contour, for example, and we want to present the stresses for all the possible loading conditions that we have in our model. So we go to, first we have to select the loads. In the load count, we select all the individual load sets, and load groups. So we want to present stresses for all of them, but we don't want only to take a look on the global view default one, but also zoomed in. So we select default view, bottom part, middle part, and top part. With holding a shift button, I can select multiple items here. We want to have equivalent stress. So we select the result category stress, but in the same way, we can add any other result category. We select stresses, equivalent, and once again, rule-based selector for a portion of model we would like to present, but we took all entities for this sort of plots. We press OK, and SDC Verifier starts to generate the structure. Done. We have a job, static structure, we have individual loads, each of our individual loads, and for every load we have individual load 1, 4 different views, 4 different plots. If I will select generate on this one, within a couple of seconds I'm going to have the plots generated that I have requested to be included in this report. I have a complete document generated once again, not to waste the time of this webinar. So I'll show you the complete structure, but the idea is pretty simple. We added the stress plot, the general view of stress, bottom one, middle one, and top one to our report. We just played with the views, but we can also adjust the selections and look only on certain parts. How do we do that? We can create from scratch, or we can edit the existing one. For example, right click on this, edit, and here we can adjust. I don't want to look on all entities. I only want to look at certain properties. And let's say it's going to be this 5, just randomly, press OK. OK, and I want to regenerate. I hope I haven't hidden those that are on this picture. But let's see. Yeah, I selected it. All of them are here somehow. Okay, let's choose the other one. Let's choose only, let's be more wise this time and select only eye shape. Select OK. OK. Generate. Okay. See some surprisingly it doesn't want to recalculate the regenerate the plot. But idea is that yeah, when you are, I'm looking at the top, middle, bottom shape. Just a second. So the global one, bottom, middle, and top is somehow not regenerated. Okay, I'll show you that in the completely generated report. Sorry for that, but yeah, as usual, something is not going well during the public presentation. So we added the stress plots, and now we want to add the tables. We select the expand extreme table to the list of the to the list of the to add to the structure of the report. We select expand extreme table and we select the loads, but we cannot select them as we did previously. Just go over this button which shows recent loads and we select the recent ones. After adding the recent loads, we select what do we want to present. Let's say it's going to be stress again on all entities once again. We press OK. And the stress table is added to the complete structure of the report that we have. So we can press generate on this and we see, I can zoom in also, oh, sorry, wrong button. For individual load 1, on all entities, we show the maximum stress. And since it's only a beam model, we only have the stresses in x direction. Since we are looking on the extreme values, and it's 125 megapascals. Next one that we are going to add is another type of table, and we can generate a flow table. Let's select the flow table, and flow table allows us to, well, let's do the same. Let's add flow table only for the load groups. So I go here, I clear the individual loads and load sets, and I add it only for the load groups. I press OK on all the entities. Here it gives us a possibility to select the parts of the model. Since it's a flow table, we want to show something over loads, and let's show it for a couple of properties. Let's say just for property, just for 4 of them. Press OK. OK. And then the summary is created in the end where I have these 4 tables. I can generate the table and it shows for property. Go to, yeah, it's good like this. For property beam 9, the stress results over loads. So I showed previously how to create an extreme table for all the loads. And here we can do the results over loads. So wind separately, storm separately, overall separately. I did it for property number 9, but in the same way it's done for the property number 10. So the idea is that you're adding a flow table which allows you to show the results not for each item separately, but one certain output over the loads. Next one, I want to include the checks results. So it is possible to include check plots and check tables in a very similar way. I click on check plots, and in here you are selecting the standards that you would like to pick. Let's pick only one of them. Let's say it's going to be Eurocode. We select overall check. We go to contour plot, and we say that we want to see overall utilization factor for all the load groups on the 4 views as we did before. On all entities, for all entities. We select all of them, press OK, and we have a list of plots that is going to be created. We press OK, and after we press that, we go back to the one-page view, and we added this to the load groups. So I go to the load groups in this list, and I see that new item has appeared, the Eurocode 3 members paragraph, where we have included the plots for checks. So in this way, I created that for all the 3 load groups. For wind, I can see the results of Eurocode check. For storm and for overall, I created plots, and I can also go to results, check tables, and include a table. But we would like to use another table. I go again for the overall buckling and overall check of Eurocode, and I would create not a typical extreme expand table, but a flow table. When I'm selecting the flow table, it gives us a possibility to look on the model over selections. Sorry, on the result over selection. So I'll do the same. I select 2 load groups. I will preview only this results for load group. All directions, but I won't select all entities. I will select the properties from the list, and I will actually select all of them. I press OK. OK. Couple of table has been created. We press OK. And in the summary, we have added also a flow tables where we can see the results of the utilization factor for the checks in a way that like we presented stresses for every group. But another, so it created a separate table for every property. But another way is component extreme table, where we can present, we can select the loads, not all of them, but let's keep the 3, and we can keep the properties from list, all of them, OK. And we will look on absolute values, for example. We press OK. And after this, we added a components extreme table, which shows us results over properties. So I showed you 3 ways of presenting results in SDC Verifier. The result over the full selection, so like maximum stress on the complete model. You're able to present the results over the loads, like what is going to be the result of this output for each and every load I have in my model. And another one is presenting the result over selection. You build a list of selections, and you presenting a table showing the result per selection. Then we have a post-processing tab, which allows us to include peak finder results or governing loads or free body. So for some post-processing tools that we have in SDC Verifier, and the import tab, which as I said, is allowing you to include the part of the document which is generated before into the structure of your report. A couple of more settings, sorry, that I wanted to show you before we come to an end and conclusion of this report. First of all, I'd like to show you, yeah, as I said, the buttons like collapse all is minimizing your structure, so you can start navigating through the structure on your own. Again, as I said, it's possible to drag the item within the structure, and it's possible to select multiple with Control button or with Shift button, few of them, if you need to select a few of them. And in the Insert tab, I wanted to show you how to customize this, because the biggest fight we have here with this structure, with this workflow, is you saying, why don't I just do the screenshots from Ansys, or why don't I just do the export results into Excel table, or just screenshot of the table into Word document, because Microsoft Word is so much more convenient. First of all, SDC Verifier has a complete functionality of everything you would like to add. So if you think that this is not enough and you need to add some custom chapter, you drag the user chapter into, you select the user chapter, and you say, I want to call it my personal chapter. You add your personal chapter here to the end, and you can drag some items from the summary, for example. This stress tables would look better in my personal chapter. And also, I think that this couple of plots would look better in my personal chapter. So you can control the structure. If you don't want to sort them overloads, no problem. You can sort the results in your own way. Probably if you're doing some custom summary, you would like to add some custom text. It is great idea to include some text. So you select some text, you drag it to the top, and you here on the right, you can select the title, you can select the text. For example, you want to write something, this is my opinion about the results. I press OK, and you generate your personal chapter. So yeah, I had to. I generated the complete chapter, so a couple of plots, just a few seconds. This progress bar is showing how much time is left to, approximately how much time is left to generate the complete chapter. And you go to the beginning, and you see that your chapter is just a title, and then nothing else is displayed here. It is because the next paragraphs are on the next page. So you select on your text, break page before, no. And you can see that this is your personal chapter with your personal opinion about the results, with the presenting the tables that you wanted to drag to this chapter and the plots that you wanted to keep here. So you have, with this insert tab, the complete idea of writing whatever you would like to add. Is it a user chapter, text, or image from file or from clipboard? If you think it's smarter and easier to you to put, not to use SDC Verifier Plotter, not to generate all this kind of content, but it's easier for you to include the item on your own. For example, you want to prove to your customer that it's modeled with latest version of Ansys. It's, well, first of all, it's written in the preface. You can see that I'm using SDC Verifier 2022 release 1 and Ansys 2022 R1. But if you want to prove to your customer whatever is the idea you want to share, you can go to, for example, Mechanical and make a screenshot of the complete Mechanical interface. And then now it's in my clipboard. So I just go to Report, Insert, Image from Clipboard. Done, it's here. And now I'm generating this image. And here you can see, so I just included the image. You can include the model plot. You can include the appendix like some contents and things like this. And the last thing I would like to show to you today is that you are not only able to include the, the information about the model, but also information about the standard. So how do I add this? Is in the table of content, model setup, cognition tools. Yes, here in the appendix, you have a standards description. So I include, because you want to prove to the certain, to those who are going to read your report that it's done according to Eurocode and the formulas of Eurocode. You select the complete description of Eurocode standard, okay. And in your personal chapter, the Eurocode members check is shown. I'm not going to generate all the formulas, just let's say the last one. So complete description and all the formulas of how the calculation is done is shown in this case. So all the formulas, how the check according to Eurocode is calculated is included. You can also include the characteristics, what options you have set up, and what are the parameters that are used for the calculation. And as I said now, so let's assume that I have finished the way I would like to present my results. All I have to do now is to press generate and to export to Word. But I don't want to waste too much of your time, so I already prepared one of the report. I'll save this one. It is saved as a report profile number 2. Just a couple of seconds more for saving because I selected to store the information in the report. Okay, report 2 is created, but report 1 is the one I did while just half an hour before this presentation. So if I select edit this report, okay, just a second. I'm using my demonstration laptop, which is not that powerful and lags from time to time. But if I'm using I wanted to show you how to select the first report and how to generate and convert it into the Word document. Okay. And after we do this, yes, so this one is completely generated and stored. So I have a first page here, content. I have set up the materials in the way I would like to see the properties highlighted, as I said, where is it located and how is that looking. Then the loads, constraints, and then all the results which we generated together with you today. So let's collapse all and just take a look on the load group setup. I also set up the break pages before in a nice way to see two pictures over a page. So we have a couple of stress plots, stress table, then the displacement plot, displacement table. I have set up the utilization factor results, so you can see that a couple of members in our structure are not passing the checks of the standard. And I made the table, which I wanted to show you in previous report, with the results over selections. So we can see here utilization factor value for axial check, bending check, shear check, and combined for every property that we have in our model, and some flow tables in the end. So it is all completely generated. And now to have this document to be shared with whoever we would like to share it with, we click on export to Word, and it's starting to convert the document structure into the Word document. And now it's done. And I have a complete report in Microsoft Word with navigation pane where I can navigate through the structure of my document, complete description of the model, results of stresses, results of displacements, for the load group, results of checks, and flow tables in the end with results over load. So as you can see here, this is a flow table of results over selection for the checks, and this is results for stresses over the different loads. With this, I would like to conclude the demonstration, but the last thing I wanted to say, so what is the biggest benefit against just doing the same report in Word from the very beginning? So you can just do the screenshots you need and not set up the report with SDC Verifier. The benefit is first the time saving, of course, for generating these pictures, but secondly, our work tends to change, adjust, and modify. And it's very likely that after you generated this report, your customer or your boss is coming to you and say, you know, we want to do this slight change in the model. Can you please adjust the factors, or can you please change the cross section of these members that are not passing the check with SDC optimization tool, or just replace it with the profile that we have? So after this, you have to go to your Ansys Mechanical, adjust the cross section, and reanalyze it. Or you have to go to SDC Verifier, just a second for it to save the report. You have to go to SDC Verifier and adjust the factors on load. So we thought that probably the factor of 1.5 on the load sets is way too high. So we go to edit multiple. We change the 1.5 into 1.3, set it diagonally, we press OK, and now we have to recalculate the complete model and create the report again. So if you did the report in a Word document, you have to create everything from scratch. If you did a report with SDC Verifier, you have to click basically, well, I typically say it's 2 buttons, but actually it's a little bit more. So first you click on Generate, and you calculate the model again if you change something in the model. If you just change the factors, you don't even need to recalculate the model. So you go to Report, select it, select to edit. Yeah, since I'm storing these results, it's taking a bit more time. But you're going to Report, press Generate the report again, and press Export to Word. So how many buttons is this? Let's say Open Report, Open Generate, and Export to Word. 3 clicks if you don't need to recalculate, and 4 clicks if you need to recalculate your model. So SDC Verifier reporting is not only saving you time on generating a routine pictures one by one and tables and information about your document. The biggest time-saving benefit is when you need to modify something in your model and then generate a new report. And within this, you export it to Word. That's the second one we presented with you during the demonstration. So you have report number 1, you put it on the left in your model. You have the report number 2, you put it on the right, and you compare the results of one and another. So within a couple of minutes, we generated 2 documents where we can compare the results I prepared before with the review navigation pane, with the custom my personal chapter where we present our own opinion about the results, and we can take a look on that, compare it one to another before changes and after changes. And if extra changes are required, you just go back to Ansys and to SDC Verifier, do the adjustments to the model, calculate it again, generate the report again. So the main idea is the flexibility that SDC Verifier brings you in terms of regenerating everything from scratch after the calculation is recalculation is necessary. That's it. That's everything I wanted to present today for the SDC Verifier reporting feature. It took a bit more than expected because, yeah, typically it's I can speak about SDC Verifier and about the reporting especially, which has so many different options for much longer. So sorry if I took a bit more of your time, but we still have some time for questions. Let's say 8 minutes to finish the questions. I see a sent message from Petro, who has tracked some of your questions in Q&A. And the first of the question is, can we link this to SPDM, so simulation project data management? Yes, the general answer is yes. All the information that we have here, it's possible to link it to PLM or SPDM, to PLM or SPDM with the open API of SDC Verifier. You can basically control the report in the way you would like to and link it to any other tools and services. Hope that answers the question. And the next question is it possible to generate a report in different languages? Well, I frequently get this question. There is people who want to adjust the who want to write the report or need to write the report in different languages. First of all, it is important to understand that everything you generate in SDC Verifier, it depends on what you write in. So if in your property list, you name it in your language, it will be displayed here in your language. But on the other hand, there is a certain amount of, the same works for report. So I can rename this jacket model into, well, I can translate it in Ukrainian, or I can translate it to, well, whatever language you would like to have. So the idea is that whatever you write in the report, it is in your project, sorry, it is displayed in the report. On the other hand, we have a certain data which is pretty standard, like names of the chapters. And this is a standard list from the of the items to be translated. So if you would really need SDC Verifier in different language, please send me a message that you need to do so, and let me know which languages are important for you, and we can easily prepare a list of, I don't know, it's going to be about 100 of different words that has to be translated, and we can translate SDC Verifier report into a certain language. We actually had an experience of translating the full program into Japanese. So I don't know, some of our early users probably remember that at some point there was an option to use SDC Verifier in English and in Japanese. Question is that it's also hard to support this because every next release, every update, the new language has to be supported. So if some of you need SDC Verifier reporting in your language and are happy to help us with the translation and with the support of this translation from version to version, we are happy to cooperate and to work on this together with you. Petro, do we have any more questions? I don't see anything else in Q&A.
No, we don't have, but if someone wants to ask questions, please raise your hands or just unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, I see a comment from Adam that it convinced him to try doing his improvement loops. I'm happy to hear that. Yes, I presented to you today so many things. I wanted just to navigate, to guide you through the functionality, but you don't necessarily need to create such a long report, which I did for 91 pages. You can generate 5 plots and then do a lot of your improvement iterations and loops and just generate the documents again and again and again just to compare your results. So thing is that standards link us to a certain workflow. So you cannot verify your structure against Eurocode in many different ways. But this report you can use and generate in so many different ways. So I'm happy to see your ways of using SDC Verifier reporting. I'm happy to help you and support you. You can always contact SDC Verifier support if you need help. And as I promised to you at the beginning, if you want to set up the SDC Verifier report template according to your company standard, send me an email to oleg@sdcverifier.com, and you will be able to connect with our support engineers, and we will set up the template for you specifically. And I see also the request to share the video of the presentation in the end. Of course, I think we won't be able to do it today, but Petro will help me to prepare all the information, and we will send the recording and the generated report to all the attendees who registered to this meeting or who was able to participate today. On this, I'd like to conclude our today's meeting. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you for joining us for the session, and I hope we'll have more regular sessions like this. At least once a month, we are willing to present some important features of SDC Verifier to you. Thanks again for joining us, and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye. Thanks.